In the news tonight, North Country Palin fans headed south to Auburn just to see the Alaska governor and former vice presidential candidate. Also tonight, foreclosed homes in Jefferson County went up for bid today at a property tax auction. And businesses in the Adirondacks are bracing for the summer season. The Saturday edition of 7 News starts right now.
Welcome home to the North Country's finest. You're watching 7 News. The news with Kevin Torres, John Kubas weather, and Rob Crone on sports.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Torres. Dozens of folks from the North Country headed south this morning to the central New York city of Auburn just to see Alaska governor and former Republican vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. Palin was in Auburn to honor city native William Seward, who helped play a pivotal role in the purchase of Alaska in 1867. I met up with a few folks from our area. In a city similar to the size of Watertown, you're bound to find plenty of folks who would make a day out of seeing a national political star.
Well, Sarah Palin, of course.
Folks like Dolly Buskey, who spent a considerable amount of time living in the North Country.
And Richter was a judge when my daughter was running for Miss Lewis County, and I don't remember what year, but I remember Ann, and she's just a sweetheart.
Sure, she's a fan of Ann, but when it comes down to it, her idol is Sarah Palin.
Yeah, well, you can call her Sarah.
Love you, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it would have to be Mrs. Palin or Mr. so-and-so, but we can say Sarah.
Dolly came here with her best friend,
They didn't even give her a chance.
who believes Palin was knocked away from the vice presidential seat by the media.
You know, what magazines do you read?
Wonderful, wonderful lady.
On this day, all anger was pushed aside as dozens of North Country fans made a pilgrimage to Auburn.
Hi to anybody in Copenhagen.
Paul Lynn brought his son along for the ride. He's originally from Fairbanks, Alaska, but calls the Jefferson County village of Copenhagen home now.
It's a Capitol flag from Juneau. It flew over the Capitol building.
Not too far away from Paul was Watertown Mayor Jeff Grant,
50 if you're a Republican or Democrat.
who very well could be the president of the North Country Sarah Palin fan club.
Because she can relate to small towns, whether it's Wasilla or Watertown or Auburn. It's all the same.
Palin's visit was one to remember. As she passed through the streets, she waved back and forth to pretty much everyone who called her name. Some folks even said they saw her around town yesterday, and she kindly shook their hands and wished them well.
She's one of us.
Back here at home, a property tax auction was held in Watertown today to bid off some pieces of foreclosed property. More than 700 people showed up for the auction. 7 News reporter Rachel Kent tells us about it.
Reg Schweitzer just bought this property in Adams at the Jefferson County tax auction. It sits on 11 acres of land. He paid $17,000 for it, but it was assessed at more than $40,000.
Solely know the location and get to do a drive-by, and that's about it.
The county put 60 foreclosed properties up for auction. While you can get a good deal on foreclosed properties, people say buying them does come with its risks.
But you got to look at the house because some of the homes are going to need work on them. You're going to need the money because you got to pay within 30 days. You got to have 35% down.
Jefferson County has $500,000 in assessed properties up for auction.
We certainly are in this to make at least the amount of the delinquent taxes that are on these properties. In past years we have actually made more, which is a revenue to the county.
The properties were all foreclosed after owners neglected to pay their taxes for at least 2 to 3 years. Now they belong to the highest bidder, like Reg Schweitzer, who plans to fix his new home up and use it as a rental. Rachel Kent, 7 News.
In other news, a Norfolk fire truck was damaged last night at a barn fire in the town of Louisville. The fire happened along County Route 39 at the Rupert residence. Investigators say the 2-story barn was completely destroyed in the fire. It was used to manufacture pallets. At least 8 departments responded to the scene. No injuries were reported. We're not sure the extent of the damage done to that fire truck. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is urging the federal government to make dredging in the port of Ogdensburg a priority. According to recent statistics, cargo shipments along the St. Lawrence Seaway are down 40% from last year's shipping season. The dredging project would cost about $3 million. A Harrisville man was picked up by Lewis County Sheriff's deputies last night for allegedly starting a fight at the Trackside Bar in Harrisville. Deputies say Herbert Frost tried attacking a few folks at the pub around 7:30 last evening. He was charged with assault in the third degree, and will have to appear in the Village of Harrisville court in the next few weeks. Up in the Adirondacks, local shop owners are hoping the summer season will bring in plenty of business. So far, the spring season hasn't been too stellar, and with gas prices climbing up, no one's quite sure how the next few months will pan out. Business owners say they're lowering prices and offering more deals to their customers with hopes that they'll keep the Adirondacks in mind for their summer vacation.
We're hoping that maybe people won't be taking big vacations to someplace else. They'll come up this way.
Business owners say the big crowds start coming in around the third weekend of June. The Harrisville Christian Church is getting a makeover. Since its creation in 1866, the church has never had insulation. So to change that, the community held a few fundraisers and saved up enough money to get some work done. Crews are stripping the church's old exterior and fixing the bell tower. It should be complete in about 3 weeks. A bit of sad news a few miles away from the church. The owner of the popular North Country shop, A Walk Through Grandma's House, has decided to put her business up for sale. The store has been around for more than a dozen years, but the owner says it's getting too hard to run by herself. Coast Guard members from across the North Country train in Sackets Harbor this morning. They're looking for new volunteers to join their auxiliary team. Members say with the state of the economy, fewer people have time to volunteer.
We're eyes on the water. If we see something that's not right, we can let the Coast Guard know and go from there.
Anyone who wants to volunteer needs to contact the Sackets Harbor Coast Guard Station or the Alex Bay Station. We'll have that information on our website later on this evening. And it's just about 6:06 right now, and that means it's time to get a look at the beautiful forecast, and for that we turn over to John Kubis in the Weather Center. John, this was probably like one of the most perfect days of the year so far.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, a little bit breezy, but you know, we had a little bit of sun. Don't get used to this dry weather. Big time pattern changes, at least in our weather, on the way. Let's check right really quick. Believe it or not, there's a cold front making its way through the North Country. It came through pretty much dry. Now we're behind the front, so pretty much sunny skies, and that's going to be the case until over the next couple of hours. Look off to the west, so lots of clouds, even some rain. That's a warm front. That'll be impacting our weather. Looks like after midnight tonight, as we see an increase in clouds in the North Country, and then lots of clouds for our Sunday, and even the threat for maybe a couple of rain showers. 67 at last check, lots of sun out there, beautiful day. Hopefully you get the chance to get outside and enjoy what's left of it, because tonight the clouds will be on the increase. We'll have lows in the upper 40s. Unsettled will be the weather word for the next couple of days. Details on your wet forecast here in a bit.